What's up, guys? Neil Orfield here, taking a look at the Stokastic NFL DFS lineup generator for the Monday Night Football game between my Minnesota Vikings and the San Francisco 49ers. In this video, I'm only going to be looking at the FanDuel single game lineups. If you're looking for DraftKings, I also already published a video on this channel where you can see what the lineup generator is giving us for those DraftKings lineups. While you're coming in, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and hit that notification button so you can get alerts when our shows go live. Again, in this video, we're only looking at the FanDuel single game lineups, but if you sign up for the lineup generator, you're getting access to all of these. You're getting the main slate for both DraftKings and FanDuel. You're getting every primetime slate for both DraftKings and FanDuel as well, and it's just $14.95 per week. The only lineups you get in the lineup generator are long-term profitable lineups, so it's a fantastic tool. Check it out if you haven't already done so. The link is in the description of this video, by the way. All right, we're going to go to FanDuel single game lineups. And for a showdown slate, I'm doing contrarian lineups. I want to have lineups that are not going to be duplicated a ton. I want to, when I win a lot of money. I don't want to be duplicated 2,000 times, which you see pretty frequently on FanDuel. So I'm going to try to find some contrarian lineups here. I'm going to use standard projections as well. You can choose different game scripts here. You can see these 4 different buttons for different game scripts. Whatever you think is going to have happen in the game, you can play it that way if you want to. Again, I'm just going to use standard projections. And as I'm choosing lineups here, I want to, again, specify that I am playing only the largest field GPPs. So all of my analysis here isn't really relevant to, it's definitely not relevant to cash games. It's not really relevant to small field GPPs either. I'm only analyzing for the purpose of large field GPPs here. If I were playing smaller contests, I probably wouldn't go to the contrarian bucket. I would probably go to, chalky or balanced buckets. But for the largest field GPPs on FanDuel, I think this is the better place to find lineups that are not going to be duplicated a ton. All right, so the first lineup we have here, Jake Moody in the MVP spot. 49ers defense, Christian McCaffrey, KJ Osborne, TJ Hawkinson. Now, the first thing I want to look at, quarterback correlation. We don't have any quarterbacks here. We don't need to worry about it. Does this one have a real shot to win? So the only way this lineup is the optimal lineup is if Jake Moody outscores McCaffrey, Osborne, Hawkinson, and the 49ers defense. You wouldn't get this lineup if that was not possible. The lineup generator is not going to give you lineups that have no shot at winning. Certainly possible for Jake Moody to put up 15 fantasy points, Christian McCaffrey to still be optimal with 12 fantasy points. So definitely possible here. And this looks to me like this would probably be a low scoring game script. Obviously the kicker in the MVP spot is the highest scoring player. Probably means it's a low scoring game, but you got the kicker correlated with the defense. There's a little bit of positive correlation there, I think, for a low scoring game. Having the running back McCaffrey in there, and then Osborne and Hawkinson, maybe they rack up some PPR points. I know it's half PPR on FanDuel, but that counts for something. And of course, they're outscoring Cousins on every passing play. So I do think that this is a plausible lineup, particularly for a low scoring game here. Also leaving 3,500 on the table. I think this is going to be plenty unique with the Moody captain and leaving 3,500 on the table. I like this lineup. I think this one has a shot to win, and I think it won't be duplicated a ton. So I like this one for a large field GPP. Next lineup, we have Jauan Jennings, so a contrarian captain here. We again don't have any quarterback here. I don't think I would play this lineup just because it's only leaving 1,000 on the table. That is the biggest factor in avoiding duplication, is just leaving salary on the table. Generally, this one's kind of close for me because we have Jauan Jennings really low owned in the MVP spot and leaving 1,000 on the table, which is not nothing. I still don't think that I'm going to get there with this one. I think I would probably skip this one just because it's not leaving quite enough on the table. I generally want to leave at least like 1,500 on the table. Now, this is an interesting one. So this one, we're leaving 9,000 on the table. That is massive. 60,000 is the salary cap. So probably going to be unique just by leaving 9,000 on the table. And as you can see here, when you leave 9,000 on the table, you don't really need any super contrarian options within the line. We've got 12% owned Purdy in the MVP. That's our lowest owned player in the entire lineup. So we're not leaving a ton on the table, but as far as correlations go, we've got Purdy in here. So this is our first one where we're worried about the quarterback. When I have Purdy in the MVP spot, you could play him with just one pass catcher, but I do prefer having multiple. You've got that here with both George Kittle and Jauan Jennings. And then Greg Joseph, the highest scoring Viking, making it into this lineup. So here you really need, because we're leaving 9,000 on the table, you are assuming here that Greg Joseph outscores every other Vikings player. You're also assuming Jauan Jennings outscores every Vikings player. All these players obviously need to. This is, maybe McCaffrey's a little bit banged up, doesn't have his best game, doesn't put up a lot of fantasy points, but this is you do need Juwan Jennings here to outscore Brandon Ayuk, McCaffrey, Jordan Addison, all of the other players. So if you don't think that's plausible, I wouldn't play this lineup. But I do think it is plausible. We know that it's plausible. You wouldn't get this lineup if it was not at least possible to happen. And I think this is going to be a very unique lineup. So I do think that this is a lineup that I would play in a large field GPP on FanDuel. So there's two. I'm going to find one more lineup that I think is plausible. All right, this one we have Cousins in the MVP. We've got Powell, primary pass catcher. Alexander Madison actually runs a fair number of routes. Has been targeted, I think, like 28 times on the year. So I do think that he works as a pass catcher as well. So we've got the Cousins with multiple pass catchers in the flex. We've also got Cousins going up against the 49ers. So there is one factor that could possibly avoid some duplication. The quarterback MVP against opposing defense still could easily work out, though. Say Cousins throws a pick six. He loses one fantasy point. I think it's one, maybe it's two on FanDuel. But I think it's one fantasy point. He loses one fantasy point, but he also gets the ball immediately back in what is likely a better game script for the Vikings to be passing. So even though it's slightly negatively correlated, it's really not that negative of correlation. This looks like a game script where the Vikings, or probably a low scoring game, and the Vikings outscoring the Niners. The Niners maybe not doing much in this game. So it looks plausible to me, leaving plenty of salary on the table. I'm not really worried about duplication with this one. Looks like a lineup that I think is viable for the largest field GPP on FanDuel. All right, now I'm going to go through and just save lineups until we get to the end. You see this one? This one doesn't look nearly contrarian enough to me because it looks really nice. It looks like a great lineup with Purdy, McCaffrey, Kittle, and then Powell and Osborne for the Vikings using the full salary cap. I would guess this one is going to be duplicated a good amount. But I'm going to go through now. I'm just going to save until we get to the end. All right. So after saving, it looks like we get 40 lineups here. We've been getting some bonus lineups lately, not just the 20 that were promised. That's nice. We get 50% Kirk Cousins in the MVP spot, 42% Brock Purdy in the MVP spot, even in the contrarian bucket. Not that shocking. You do need your highest scoring players to make it to the MVP spot. That is there's no salary multiplier on FanDuel. So you do need your highest scoring player in your lineup to be in the MVP spot. Not a surprise to see two of the highest projected players getting there. Alexander Madison making it in there. 40% 49ers defense is interesting. 40% KJ Osborne, 38% McCaffrey, Hawkinson, Ayuk, 33% Kittle. In general, we're getting our highest exposures to the highest projected players. Not a shock there. Looks good to me. If you haven't already liked the video, please do like the video. If you haven't subscribed to the Stokastic channel, we're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers. So we would appreciate it if you subscribe to our channel. That's going to do it for this video. Thanks for watching. Good luck tonight.